Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you thought about the trust that you put into your employees? When was the last time you considered whether, when you trust them to do what you're paying them for, that they use every second of every day that they've got to deliver on that? That when you trust them to be a representative of you in front of customers, with each other, with people outside of the business, that they deliver on that consistently, not just once in a while, but all the time. When was the last time you considered this trust that you place in them to do their very best, that they are actually using everything that's up here to do the 100% best that they can? Well, my guess is that it's not very often that we think about those things. And the reason I say that is that my name is Martin Goodyear and I'm a psychologist. And for the last 2 decades, I've been doing nothing else but working with organizations to help increase their effectiveness of the people that are in the business. And I've discovered over that time that the single most important factor, the number one that creates a difference in outputs in the bottom line really, really quickly, is when you can trust people to deliver. Now, I'm not suggesting for a moment that people are untrustworthy. That's not what I'm saying. But if you think about the way in which you measure, say, the output of a machine, if you buy a piece of machinery and you measure its output from 0, meaning it's not doing anything, to 100%, meaning it's working all the time, totally consistently, well, you probably don't necessarily expect it to do the 100% all the time, but 95% would be a good thing to aim for. Well, the same thing is true with people. You can calibrate those between 0 and 95% too. Now just look around at everyone that you've got working for you and just imagine what would it be like if they were delivering at that full 95% of everything that you trust them to do. Would they be different in the way in which they're coming up with new ideas and new input? Would their outputs in terms of effectiveness be any different to the way they are right now? Would they be saying things differently to each other? Would they be using the resources that they've got differently? Well, my guess is yes, they would. Now, if you calibrate each individual from 0 to that 95%, you may score them at 70 or 75 and think, well, that's okay, that's not bad, they're doing quite well. But think about it. Think about the difference between that 70 or 75% and the 95 that's possible. Well, here's the good news. The good news is that it is possible to increase the level of trust outputs that you can get from everybody that works with you without actually making too much of an effort. It's like pushing the right buttons on that machine to get different results. And you can do it relatively quickly. You can attend a short workshop and then do follow-up sessions over the next couple of months. And by the time that you've done that, you will have gathered enough skills to be able to do something positive about moving people forward and converting that extra trust to your bottom line. The bad news is that for every day that you wait, then you are missing out on this additional bottom line success. Now, I'm not making that up. You can judge it for yourself. You can make those calibrations yourself and see that I'm absolutely telling the truth. So, if you're interested in learning how to do this, learning how to up the levels of trust that's delivered back to you after you've already given it to your employees, then come join me on one of my workshops. They're 2.5 days, and by the way, they are not in somewhere miserable like Basingstoke or Basildon or Birmingham, Burnley. I don't know why I'm using all the B's, but they're actually in I was going to say Bahamas, but they're not. It's not true. They're in the islands of the Canary Islands in Tenerife, which is only 4.5 hours away from the UK. Lots and lots of travel from London airports and the Midlands, both North Midlands, South, and up north too. So there's plenty of opportunities to get there. Here's the thing. The reason why I do the workshops out there in Tenerife is because when people step off that plane and get into the warm sunshine, there's a big difference in the way in which they engage with the material and they remember it much more. Plus, it feels like a benefit for them that you're not taxed on, so that's a really good move. Now, what I'm inviting you to do is, if I'm talking to the managing director or CEO, then I'm asking you to bring 2 of your senior people with you. So just 2, so there's 3 of you in total. And you'll be joining a small group of other groups of 3 who will be part of the workshop for the 2.5 days that you're with me. That means that you get to actually engage with people who are experiencing something similar to you in their own businesses. And there's as much benefit from networking with those and engaging with them as there is from the learning as well. You'll also be following up with these people after the workshop. So the way it works, 2.5 days in Tenerife with me. Then you'll have follow-up group sessions about 3 weeks after the workshop, and then a further 3 weeks afterwards. So we turn it from overall a 3-day event into a 2.5 to 3 month learning experience where you engage with the material and make a difference back in your workplace. Let me stress, this is not one of those wouldn't it be nice to do, let's learn a new skill type of workshop. This is a workshop for SME business owners, managers, and their senior team to up the levels of outputs from the trust that they're already giving to their employees, and in order to drive the bottom line even further than it is at the moment, to make a difference to your effectiveness and your profitability as quickly as possible. If you're interested in doing this, then just push the button below, get in touch, and I look forward to speaking to you. All right, till then, nice to speak to you now. Bye-bye.